In this brief video, we're going to take a look at articulation agreements. So what does articulation agreements mean? It is how we govern and guide the transfer of credits between the community college system and then other academic institutions. So there are a bunch of different articulation agreements. The big one is what we call the CAA, the Comprehensive Articulation Agreement. So if you are an Associates in Arts or an Associates in Science student, this is the articulation agreement that governs your transfer of credits. It is between the community college system and the 16 public universities in North Carolina. So what does it do? If you graduate with your Associates in Arts or Associates in Science degree and you have made a C or better in all of your courses with a GPA of at least a 2.0, you have two guarantees. You have guaranteed admission to one of the 16 public universities, not a specific university, but one of the 16 public universities, and you're also guaranteed to transfer with junior status. So those courses are going to fulfill what we call the lower division general education requirements. Now, what courses are covered as part of the CAA? Everything that is found within our degree plans for the Associates in Arts and the Associates in Science are going to fall within the CAA agreement. But there's a bunch of other courses as well that maybe Carteret just doesn't offer, but they're still transferable. So I have linked that list in this lesson resources for this module. You can scroll down and see everything you could potentially take at the community college level that would be a part of an Associates in Arts or Associates in Science, but also transfer. This guide or this list will also tell you how those courses will transfer. So there are 3 different types of transferable courses. There are what we call UGETC courses or UGETC, Universal General Education Transfer Component. Those are kind of the meat and potatoes of your degree. That is your humanities, your social behavioral sciences, your math, your natural sciences. So this list will tell you if it is one of those courses. It will tell you if what we call a Gen Ed elective. You have to take a certain number of Gen Ed elective hours. And then the last category is what we call the pre-major elective hours, and you have to take a certain number of hours there. Now, although every single course that you see in that list is transferable, you still have to follow your transfer guide to have them count towards your intended major. So I say here, for example, if you plan to enter engineering at NC State, but you take classes that are for elementary education, they're going to still transfer, but they're going to count as electives. You still have to take all the math and sciences that are required for engineering. So it's really essential that you still follow your transfer guide rather than just looking at the CAA transfer course list. Now, once you transfer, if for some reason your university is denying you the courses that you have taken, but they're part of the CAA guidelines, you can go through an appeal process. That appeal process, if you read through the CAA agreement, which is linked under your lesson resources this week, there's a link to all the articulation agreements, and the CAA is included there. In Appendix E, there is a form that you fill out for the initial appeal. You do go through your university for that. If it's not resolved, then both the UNC system and the North Carolina Community College system, there's a committee that will review it. That committee will give you your final decision. But I would be sure to kind of keep that in the back of your mind for when you go to transfer. If there's something going on where, again, you've graduated with that 2.0, you made a C or better, you graduated with the Associates in Arts or Associates in Science, but for some reason your university is not upholding the CAA agreement, again, you can go through that appeals process. Now, what if you transfer to a private institution in North Carolina? There is something called the Independent Comprehensive Articulation Agreement, or ICAA, and that is the agreement between our private or independent colleges and our community college system. It is very similar to the CAA. There's some minor differences. I would encourage you, if you're interested in private institutions, to make sure that you read over the ICAA. There are other agreements other than the CAA and the ICAA. If you are in the teacher preparation program, there is a separate articulation agreement. Again, if you're in any of these, I would encourage you to actually use that link this week and read over those agreements. But the biggest difference there is a 2.7 minimum GPA. There is no guaranteed admission because teacher prep is a competitive admission program. So you have a separate application there to get into the College of Education wherever you're applying. Engineering, same thing. It's a 2.5 minimum GPA there. There's no guaranteed admission again because it is competitive. There's also a nursing RN to a BSN or a Bachelor's of Science in Nursing. That agreement is a lot more complex than the others. There's a lot of requirements that you have to have in order to meet that agreement from RN to BSN. Again, it's linked this week. I do want to also mention a reverse transfer option. So what that means is, let's say that you transfer early to your university before you complete an associate's degree here. Once you transfer and you meet the requirements of maybe within the first couple of semesters at your university, you have met the requirements to earn an associate's degree, you can send your transfer or your transcript back to the community college and earn your associate's degree. Why not? I mean, you have earned it. So I would really encourage you, if you do transfer early, see if you're eligible by sending that transcript back to Carteret and go ahead and earn your associate's degree. Another type of articulation agreement is what we call bilateral articulation agreements. And a lot of those we discussed in the last module. Those are very specific agreements with usually our applied sciences and our health sciences programs. They have signed some type of an agreement with a four-year institution saying that we're going to accept all of these credits that you've done for your applied science or health sciences degree. There are way too many bilateral agreements that Carteret has to list them all here. So if you go under our lesson resources, there is a link of CCC degrees and how they will transfer. This visual is just an example of one of our bilateral agreements. So, for example, business administration, if you complete a 2-year business administration associate's degree with us, they have signed an agreement with UNC Pembroke, and UNC Pembroke says, yes, we will accept all of those courses towards a 4-year degree. Now, again, these bilateral agreements are very specific. Let's say this same student did a business administration degree at Carteret but wanted to transfer to ECU, for example. There is no agreement between business administration here and ECU. Now, a handful of classes would transfer, but would all of them? No. That student would need to be an associate's in art student or an associate's in science student if they wanted to go that route. So just make sure that you look at that link that I have given you for this module. If you're interested in one of these bilateral agreements, make sure you know how they will transfer and where they will transfer. If you are just a general transfer student, you're not quite sure where you want to go, what you want to do, then it's best that you be an associate's in arts or associate's in science student. If you have any questions at all about the CAA agreement or any of the other agreements that we have here at Carteret Community College, please don't hesitate to shoot an email and let me know.